Shove it, man!
Alright, the squad. I guess it's now or never. Am I going to Newcastle for Impact and the Turning Point show? Could you possibly be going to Newcastle too? Stick around until the end of the video to find out who. Before we get into the latest video, bits of news I need to speak on. Impact signed Ace Steel to do backstage producing, and that certainly seems like a ploy to sign CM Punk. And I'd honestly never think Punk could sign for such a small promotion. But maybe perhaps they found a way to make this a reality. It seems kinda hard to believe, doesn't it? But if this does indeed come off, he'll be by far the biggest star on that roster, even if you don't personally like him. So let the Hawk know down in the comments if you think this will actually happen, if you want it to happen. But more importantly, Impact Wrestling is dead, long live the TNA name. Yes, Impact is reverting back to the TNA name. That's gonna leave some of you dumping in your nappies of anger. I don't really care. Yes, the name TNA might be associated with some bad stuff, but the fact is the name Impact Wrestling is representative of nothing. Just nothing. Whilst the TNA name had millions of viewers and wrestlers like AJ Styles and Perk Angle, what does Impact have? They tried the name change, it just didn't work. It was awkward to say, couldn't chant it, lots of people still call the company TNA anyway. So I'm really happy with this news. It's great to see the company embracing its past. It is the right thing to do. I'm actually still in shock that they've made this decision. Sponsorships might be an issue. But then again, I doubt anyone was paying to sponsor Impact Wrestling, a company hardly anybody had heard of. The majority of fans wanted it to be TNA, so at least they've listened. Also, I recently did a poll and it seems like most people now want the six-sided ring back too. I'm undecided about that. Perhaps there's a way to make the ring a bit safer if they rebuild the six-sided ring? Let me know in the comments if you want to see it come back. Anyway, have I been too negative on this series? I don't know. I desperately want to like Impact. I'm going to give this one last shot. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to be a real positive Hawk. And besides, last week, Radomir Lozkov debuted for TNA, which is just incredible news when you think about it. He's a real game changer. So we've got to watch TNA and then Bound for Glory back to back until we need a smack. The show starts with Speedball Mike Bailey. He is the Karate Kid, and he'll be facing Will Osprey soon. But in the meantime, he has to face Samurai Del Sol. This guy impressed me last week in Impact, so I'm not against this match. It's a good even start with lots of crazy wrestling. They both try backslide, which leads to anger from both these incredible athletes. The Samurai walks into a big kick, but he responds with one of his own and then does a big dive into a corkscrew diving arm drag. Bailey can't get going and he throws himself out of the ring by mistake. The Samurai connects with a big split-legged moonsault to the outside and gets a 2 in the ring. Both guys start going crazy with the athletics for no reason at all, which leads to Bailey throwing possibly the fastest kicks I've ever seen. Not as fast as I can throw bricks though. This guy truly is the Karate Kid. He does a running shooting star for a 2. Remember when saying someone was a billy goat was an insult? Well, apparently Will Osprey embraces that. Both guys are still trying to show more athleticism than the other with their Matrix style moves. They both end up taking each other out. They go outside where again both guys take each other out with kicks. This should probably be the end of the match right here. Save it for a bigger show. But no. They fight on the ring apron instead with kicks, and then the Samurai tries a cannonball on the apron, but he completely fails and smashes into the steps. He moves on quickly, but not quickly enough as Bailey kicks him off the top rope. Speedball springs off the ropes and flies to the outside. Yeah, this match is pretty insane. Another insane body scissors move off the top this time from the Samurai for a 2 count. He starts an annoying lucha chant. Now here's the pinfall reversals. A crossbody is reversed in midair for another 2. Bailey hits a spin kick in the corner and then flies off the top rope with a middle rope shooting star press into knees, and that is the 3. Great match. It's just a shame that Will Osprey hasn't actually been on this show as hype for the match on the upcoming pay-per-view. I still have no idea what that guy's all about. Pre-recorded package now of Dirty Dango, Johnny Bravo and Radomir Lozkov, and they're being heels. Then completely out of nowhere, Dango name drops the Flying Elvises. He says they were Shannon Moore, Evan Courageous and Sonny Siaki. That's wrong on 3 counts. Jorge Estrada, Jimmy Yang, and it's Sonny Don't Look at My Ass Siaki to you, Dango. He's basically just making fun of TNA and how much he hates wrestling. He says that Radomir will kill everyone at the pay-per-view because he beat up John Wick in a film, which means he's a bad dude. That was weird, but sort of entertaining. I'll take the creativity. Can't believe Siaki is mentioned on TNA. ABC in the back hype up their upcoming tag title shot. They say they are the best tag team in wrestling. They might very well be. Chris Bay vows to have a match of the year with the Little Rascals. That's too sweet. Out next, it's Kenny King and his son. It's taken me this long to notice that Kenny King has the most memorable music on this show. It's not some generic rock music, it's a rap track that somebody has personally done for him. He goes one-on-one with Keith. The crowd desperately reach out to be able to high-five their hero Keith. Imagine being able to say that one day you managed to touch Keith. It's the sort of stuff you tell the grandkids. This one has them fighting on the outside for what feels like forever. Keith eventually suplexes him back into the ring whilst complaining that the Memphis crowd are being too quiet. Seconds later, we're back on the outside with Keith doing an injury angle. He has a bad leg. Both men do get back into the ring, which is just great news. You can't have a match like this ending quickly. King keeps sweeping his leg out with kicks, but Keith is made of sterner stuff and he won't give up. He almost wins with a power slam. Kenny King realises he needs to pull out all the stops and tries to pin him with his feet on the ropes, but the ref stops him. Keith retaliates with the cab driver slam. The cab driver slam is just a 2. Sheldon Cooper runs a distraction which allows King to connect the Trouble in Paradise and the Royal Flush, and that's the 3. The Comrades team ask us what's next for Kenny King at Bound for Glory. Yeah, it would be nice to know. I think that's your job to figure out, isn't it? Next up, it's Angry Kaz cutting a promo about last week. He says he loves Eddie Edwards and together they can make Impact great. Someone starts desperately whispering in the darkness, and this is the intro for Crazy Steve. He has music with gongs like The Undertaker, except he's better than The Undertaker. He is, of course, the man who murdered Tommy Dreamer with a fork last week. Something that Undertaker would never have the guts to do. There's an incredible atmosphere during this entrance. He takes on Black Taurus in a no DQ match. These two are former faction members of the Decay. Black Taurus is a very stocky man, / bull. He batters Steve around the ring. Steve is scared of a steel chair, but he manages to dodge and keeps using the chair himself. Crazy Steve wastes so much time desperately looking for something under the ring, eventually retrieves more chairs and creates a bridge with them. This goes on for quite a while and completely ruins the pacing of the match. Steve Russian leg sweeps him into the apron and returns to building his little chair bridge. Now he starts building another one in the ring. Unsurprisingly, the bull has recovered after about 5 minutes. He picks Steve up and carries him around for ages before slamming him through the chairs in the ring for a 2 count. He continues to try and suplex Steve out the ring onto the other chair bridge, but can't manage it. Back in the ring, there's some nice strikes from Taurus. Steve isn't having it though and sweeps his leg out, and the bull's horns slam into the trash can. Nice reverse spike head scissors from Steve now into a cannonball in the corner for a 2. And here's the big moment. Steve throws the bull overhead and out of the ring across the stack of chairs. No cover is made as Steve has retrieved his trusty fork. I guess they managed to dig it out of Tommy Dreamer's back and give it back to Steve. He tries to stab the bull in the head but can't manage it. They start having a tug of war over the fork. Steve tries to caress his old friend, which distracts the bull. Steve moves on to collect the suitcase and then uses it as a weapon and then dives with a DDT, and that's the 3. He gives us a beautiful smile, and that's that. Way too much time setting things up and playing with forks. A faster pace would have helped these dorks, because these 2 guys are talented. Now, beyond average, Brian Myers talks about the Call the Shot gauntlet. Other people do this too, it's excellent hype for the match. Royd and Grace would also be in this match along with Joe Hendry, so hopefully one of those guys can win it. Trinity and Mickie James have a friendly interaction about their upcoming match. They are just driven by the spirit of competition. But first, they would need to tag up tonight for a match. The interviewer tells them how great they both are. She's not wrong. Next up, we got a tag match. The Man Called Moose and Beyond Average Brian Myers tag up to take on Rhino, who looks like 400 pounds of gravy, and PCO, who is a scary monster. This will be one of his last appearances for TNA. This is hype for the 4-way Monsters Ball match at Bound for Glory. Myers is scared of the big scary monster, so Moose takes over, who towers over PCO. PCO removes his bra and asks for Moose to chop on him. And they keep chopping on each other's tits for a while. I've never understood this spot. PCO hits Moose with a Russian leg sweep and a falling headbutt. The human gravy boat is back in. This match has a very slow pace. The moves do gradually get a bit bigger in this match. PCO seems to be on a real roll in this match. Beyond average, Brian Myers is killed off. PCO tries to moonsault him, which misses as the Moose saves his friend. Steve Maclin's here trying to interfere, but he's stopped by Bully Ray for some reason, and then PCO smashes him away with a big dive out of the ring. In all the chaos, Moose hits a spear on PCO, and that, my little friends, is the 1-2-3. The Women's Tag Team Champions threaten their opponents. I think they're supposed to be lesbians or something. They are called MK Ultra. What does that even stand for? And by the way, this would turn out to be a complete waste of time as the match got pulled from the pay-per-view. More hype for Speedball Mike Bailey versus Will Osprey. Once again, it'd be nice if there could be some sort of storyline here, or Osprey could even show up on the show at least. Backstage, the Rhino asks the Bully what his deal is. He says he doesn't need his help. Another ECW reunion, perhaps? Scott D'Amore is on the dance floor with Josh Alexander and Alex Shelley. They argue over their fight from last week. It's barely even got heated before D'Amore starts screaming to calm down. Feels like an overreaction. Shelley is getting paranoid about his place in the company. He's basically jealous and thinks the company should be built around him and not Josh Alexander. Perk Alexander says Shelley is becoming an insane man. Shelley loses his temper, proving him right, and storms off the interview, and then he storms into another room and attacks Josh. Someone is loudly screaming, "Shove it! Stop stealing the Hawks gimmicks, guys." Scott D'Amore breaks it up. Here's Giselle Shaw, who according to my comments section, is the hottest woman in TNA, just according to my comments section. What I will say is she is someone who's in shape and looks like they know they're on telly. That's a criticism I've had for several other people on this roster. Unwashed, dirty hippie hair and in bad shape. Anyway, her and her big bodyguard Savannah will face Mickie James and Trinity in a tag match. The heels get the jump before the bell, doesn't help them. First time I've seen this big bodyguard lady wrestle, not much to say. She clotheslines Trinity out of her thong. She responds with a head scissors on Giselle and tags Mickie in. It's not the best action I've ever seen. Trinity back in does a bunch of ass-related wrestling moves, so it's a Rikishi gimmick. She dives out of the ring. A fat man wants a high five, but he doesn't get one. I wouldn't touch him either. You probably don't know where he's been. Probably McDonald's. Later on, Giselle wants a high five / tag, and she doesn't get one either. The heels' offense is extremely basic. Trinity is isolated with the heels' antics keeping the advantage. She eventually bounces off the ropes to hit an extra bouncy kick. Mickey's in. She can't win with her Lou Thesz press. Giselle almost wins with the sure thing. Then the heels almost win again with a backbreaker dropkick combination. The good girls eventually get bored and take out Giselle Shaw with a facebuster, and Mickie beats the bodyguard with the DDT. The pin is extra nice. It's over. Mickie and Trinity raise their hands and smile, and nothing. Nothing happens. Great. If you think about it, this was excellent build for the pay-per-view, because the storyline here is that they are friends, and friends will now have to fight, and friends shouldn't have to fight, but they will at the pay-per-view. Imagine being in that sort of situation. What a storyline. So that's that. It's another Impact in the Zone. And before we go on to Bound for Glory, I'm just going to let you guys know I have decided to go to the Newcastle show. But this turns out to be one giant tribute to twat culture and twataholic. That'll be it. TNA will be finished. In my eyes, at least. The ultimate hammer blow, kissing the ass of two channels who have barely acknowledged TNA for years. Kissing up to the ultimate dork fans. They will never be mainstream. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What swayed me to go on this trip was the name change back to TNA. This proved in my eyes that they are actually capable of still making a good decision. But with the NWA getting a new TV deal on a decent network, there is a strong chance that Impact's spot at number 3 is in serious jeopardy. And perhaps TNA is starting to get worried about the NWA. On to Bound for Glory. On the pre-show, they have the Hall of Fame, and a bunch of people tell us how incredible Tracy Brooks was and how much she improved professional wrestling. Wow, the ring looks so different tonight. Gail Kim inducts her into the Hall of Fame. She says she wants to bury Tracy Brooks but can't because her son's watching tonight. She says she made a bunch of wrestlers comfortable in the locker room. Gail also says what happens on the road stays on the road. She does look lovely tonight, to be fair. 40-year-old virgins in the crowd frantically chant, "You deserve it." She keeps calling herself the original Knockout whilst the original Trinity dumps in her thong with anger. She name drops a bunch of legends in women's wrestling. She also thanks a bunch of men who helped her. Kid Cash doesn't get any thanks though. On the whole, it's quite well done. She's very emotional. The only other people getting inducted is Don West and Mike Tenay, the TNA announce team. As the package plays, I realise how generic and boring commentators are nowadays. Like Chris Van Vliet starving to death with zero personality. Scott D'Amore storms out to the dance floor. Don West passed away, but as far as I'm aware, Mike Tenay is still alive. D'Amore tells a story about Don West stealing his jacket and auctioning it off. What a legend. It's great to see Mike Tenay again and hearing his voice. He looks remarkably well. He praises Don West for a while and mentions how incredible it was for WWE and AEW to mention his passing. He moves on to talk about WCW and he thanks Eric Bischoff for giving him a chance in wrestling. He makes fun of Mongo for a bit. Mike Tenay's wife somehow looks like him. It was great to see him and hear his voice, and it made me miss him more. So we start the actual show with Chris Sabin defending his X Division title against Kenta. This is another one of those matches which has sadly had zero build because they haven't had Kenta on the show. They just don't care about storylines and it's not for me. So no. Guess what? I skipped. No, I'm kidding. I didn't skip it, but I wasn't excited for it at all. Sabin takes more risks in this match than we're used to seeing from him in recent years since he's got older. Kenta is the heel and he mostly just slows the match down. This one's more about kicks than high flying. Sabin wins the match for Cradle Shock. It's just kind of a boring average match with no story. It was fine but unremarkable. Unfortunately, I think we're about to see the exact same match 6 more times. But then I'm immediately proved wrong because we have the Monsters Ball up next, and it's just hilarious that they've revived the original part of this match where wrestlers are locked in a room without food or water for time before the match. It's the gravy-eating machine Rhino versus Steve Macklin versus Moose versus PCO. Who told Moose to wear pyjamas to the ring? It's another match which has little to no build, but these guys are out here trying to kill each other. What it comes down to is Bully Ray interferes and shoves Macklin through a barbed wire table. This is of course because Steve Macklin has been calling him SAWFT soft on Impact. Moose looks like he's going to win with a spear, but you can't because PCO wins when he hits the Swanton Bomb on a steel chair. Dude, I was watching the TNA Impact Man for Glory show the other day, man. And this dude, Pierre Carhoulet, he stole my Swanton Bomb finishing maneuver, man. And it finished. Man, I'm going back to Carolina. And I'm going to tell my stoner friend Shannon all about you, PCO, man. Yeah, just kind of an average short Monsters Ball match. They shouldn't have matches like this about a story. It just doesn't work. The tag title match is next. It's the Little Rascals versus Ace and Bay. Not much to say, it's just a bunch of dives. ABC win with the fold. They are the new tag team champions. Not a match for everyone. The next match is one of the big ones that people have been hyping. Speedball Mike Bailey takes on Will Osprey. Now, truth be told, I've heard a lot about Will Osprey, and he was at AEW All In, but honestly I was so drunk I don't remember his match, so I still don't have an opinion on him. So this will be my first proper Osprey match. I've seen people on social media calling this the greatest TNA match of all time. Its biggest issue is that it's just another match happening for no reason. I wasn't really enjoying this too much until Bailey hit a crazy springboard moonsault dive to the outside, which is pretty insane. On commentary they claim that Will Osprey is 230 pounds. Seeing as he's the same height as Mike Bailey, who isn't even wearing shoes by the way, I'm calling absolute cap on that. How has his height grown so much when he was wrestling on World of Sport? He was 5'8" then, now he's 6'1". It actually seems like it's going Bailey's way at the Poison Rana. Osprey shuts him down with a diving cutter on the apron. He does another cutter in the ring for a 2. It turned into one of those matches where both guys are trying to impress each other with the offense, and they give them the chance to do the stuff. I'm sorry, but how is this the best match ever? I seriously hate this can you top that spot in wrestling. It needs to go away and die. It looks so fake and stupid and casual fans are going to hate this. Osprey tries another diving cutter, instead he gets a backstabber. Bailey kills him with the ultimate weapon, which somehow isn't the 3. The match turns up to speed here now, with both guys no-selling and reversing everything. It's pretty mad. Bailey hits a top rope fisherman suplex, which is just another 2. The kickouts are ridiculous in this match. The Styles Clash doesn't end it for Osprey, so AJ's finish is dead now too. Osprey picks him up and drops him on his head, yet again it's a 2. Will Osprey does eventually win this one with a chop to the back of the head and a move called Stormbreaker. It was good, but then again, no character, no storyline, no selling. It was just move, kick out, move, kick out, move, kick out. Almost certainly match the night here, but match the entirety of TNA's existence, that is absolute bird turd. Enjoyable match, but it's more of a Meltzer style match. Moving on to the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, lots of random wrestlers show up unannounced during this match normally, so there were rumours of CM Punk in this match. Instead, we got Juventud Guerrera, Jody Fret, Sunny Kiss. That's Giselle Shawscreed then. Bad Comedy with Bully Ray and Mid Cardona. I guess all of these things combined are as good as CM Punk. The final 4 is 2 girls and 2 guys. Bully Ray, Mid Cardona, Killian King and Royden Grace. King and Cardona leave pretty quickly. You have to wonder at this point if Grace can connect with the Roid Rage in this sort of environment. But Roid Rage seems like her only option here if she's going to beat the far bigger Bully Ray. It'll take something special like Roid Rage. Unfortunately, most of this fight looks really fake. She's spinning around like a ballerina on ice on ketamine. But that's besides the point, because Royden wins, not with the Roid Rage, but instead with a chemical catastrophe. Something Bully Ray has never seen before. Didn't have that one scouted. She gets the mic after the match and says, "I love making history." And her win will give her a Knockouts title shot. Not sure why she gets a Knockouts title shot when she just beat and pinned super heavyweight male wrestler Bully Ray. It seems like a step down, doesn't it? Talking of Knockouts, the Knockouts title is next. Mickie James challenges for the belt she never lost, which belongs to Trinity. The crowd truly love this one as they chant Knockouts Wrestling. It's a back and forth matchup, I have no idea which way it's going to go. Trinity's very impressive with her range of moves, shout out the Assbuster. In fact, Trinity almost completely overshadows Mickie in this one. She eventually gets the tap out win. Only problem is, I'm not sure there's any women who can keep up with Trinity left in this company. In an interview with Moose Up Next, he channels his inner Rock and said it doesn't matter over and over again. He says he'll win the world title soon. The main event sees Perk Alexander challenging for the heavyweight title, which belongs to Alex Shelley. Now this match was just another kind of average, similar to the opener type match. Not much to say. Shelley wins with shell shock. Quite surprised that the master of the Perk Salt lost this one. But of course, no one really cares about this match. It's all about what happens next. A bunch of TNA wrestlers meet up in a graveyard. Eric Young and Kaz give a speech that they keep being reminded about something, and there needs to be a change. Grace says,
"We have to go back to where it all started."
Eric Young is tired of being slept on. They open up a grave and TNA Wrestling is released into the sky or something wacky. It says TNA is back from January on that pay-per-view. Back at the arena, the crowd are very happy to be able to chant TNA once again. Scott D'Amore on the dance floor screams, "We're back," and it's just a really nice moment to end the pay-per-view on. This moment right here was better than the actual pay-per-view. Okay, so quick thoughts. It was an okay show. I went into this one expecting to hate it, and maybe I enjoyed it a little bit more than I expected. Speedball and Osprey did well, even if it wasn't my sort of match, but I can acknowledge that people will love this match. The women were impressive. Hell, nothing really sucked on the show either. Check out this show if you like AEW wrestling, and if you don't, I'd give this one a miss. There wasn't a whole lot of variety on the show. Now, from what I understand, the next couple of months are essentially going to be filler. They will be on autopilot, and that's a shame because they can't take advantage of all the current hype around their name. But come January, it will be TNA. There will be some roster changes before then, and hopefully they'll start showing some urgency from January, because if they don't, they will lose their third spot to NWA. Congratulations to ticket winners for Newcastle, Scott Fitzgerald and Gabriel O'Kay for winning the tickets. Road trip now. This is going to be one hell of a busy week for the Hawk. So I'm signing off for now, but I should be back on Wednesday, and at this point I'm not sure how. But ask your girl about me and she'll scowl, and then like a brick she'll beat your brow.